Michael never expected a $2 photograph to change his life forever. In a dusty antique shop owned by his late mother's friend, he was drawn to a silver frame containing a peaceful lakeside cabin scene. Days later, while cleaning his neglected apartment, the frame slipped from his hands, revealing an unusually thick backing. When he pried it open, his fingers trembled at what he discovered inside. Death has a way of changing people's lives in unexpected ways. For Michael, the weeks following his mother's passing had been filled with grief and the emotionally draining task of sorting through her belongings. The weight of loss hung heavy as he pushed open the door to timeless treasures, the bell above tinkling softly. The antique store belonged to Walter, his mother's oldest friend. During her illness, she had entrusted Walter with selling many of her possessions. The shop was a maze of memories, furniture, trinkets, and keepsakes from countless lives finding new homes. In the corner of the shop, something caught his eye. A weathered silver frame that seemed to glow under the dim lighting. The photograph inside showed a serene lakeside cabin, trees reflecting in still waters. Nothing remarkable about the image, yet Michael found himself unable to look away. Something about the scene resonated with him on a level he couldn't explain. As Michael prepared to leave, Walter approached with the silver frame. The older man's eyes crinkled with a knowing smile as he noted Michael's interest. He explained that the craftsmanship was beautiful, normally priced at $30, but for Michael, the son of his dearest friend, just $2. With a sigh, Michael handed over the money and tucked the frame into his bag. If nothing else, it would be a small memento of his visit. Michael's apartment had been neglected during his mother's illness and funeral. Days passed in a fog of grief and routine. The weekend brought rain and an unexpected burst of energy. Perhaps it was time to start living again, beginning with cleaning his neglected space. He tackled the kitchen first, then the living room. When he reached the hallway, Michael paused at the silver frame. He picked it up, wiping away the dust. The cabin scene still held that strange, compelling quality. As he cleaned it, his fingers slipped on the damp surface. The frame tumbled from his grasp, hitting the floor with a thud. Michael quickly retrieved it, relieved the glass was intact, but something seemed off about the backing, unusually thick, with a slight bulge in the center. Curiosity piqued, Michael carefully pried open the metal clasps. Behind the photograph, nestled against the cardboard, was a sealed envelope, yellowed with age. His heart raced as he extracted it, wondering why someone would hide a letter inside a picture frame. With trembling fingers, Michael broke the seal and unfolded the paper. The handwriting was immediately recognizable, his mother's distinctive, flowing script. The letter was dated 35 years earlier, the year of his birth. Michael sank to the floor as he began to read. His mother's words unraveled everything he thought he knew about himself. The letter revealed a shocking truth. He had been born a twin. Due to severe depression and financial hardship after his father abandoned them, his mother had made the heartbreaking decision to give up one son for adoption while keeping Michael. The letter expressed her profound grief and hope that someday her children might reunite. The world seemed to tilt as Michael processed this revelation. He had a brother somewhere, a twin he had never known existed, someone who shared his DNA, his birthday, and his biological beginnings. After the initial shock subsided, anger bubbled up. Why had this secret been kept? And then a realization hit him. Walter must have known. The next morning, Michael returned to Timeless Treasures, the letter clutched in his hand. Walter's face fell the moment he saw Michael's expression. Before Michael could speak, tears welled in the older man's eyes. Walter confessed he had been there through it all, had driven Michael's mother to the adoption agency, and helped her through the darkest days afterward. She had made him promise never to tell unless she did first. When she was dying, she had arranged this elaborate reveal, her way of finally telling Michael the truth without seeing the hurt in his eyes. Michael demanded information about his brother. Walter remembered little, but he recalled the adopting family's surname, Reynolds. It wasn't much, but it was a start. For months, Michael searched without success. The revelation affected his performance at work, where he struggled under the demanding expectations of his boss, James Harlow. Harlow was notoriously difficult, exacting, critical, and seemingly devoid of empathy. His cutting remarks had always made Michael uncomfortable, but now, distracted by his search, Michael found himself increasingly the target of Harlow's displeasure. One evening, working late to correct a report Harlow had torn apart, Michael noticed something on his boss's desk that made his heart skip. A framed photograph of Harlow on vacation, standing in front of a lakeside cabin identical to the one in Michael's silver frame. Heart pounding, Michael began observing his boss more carefully. He noticed things he had overlooked. The same distinctive widow's peak that Michael himself had, identical mannerisms when deep in thought. Even the way Harlow's rare laugh sounded eerily familiar. A desperate internet search revealed that Harlow's birth certificate was suspiciously recent, issued when he was 16, following a clerical error. The pieces were forming a picture too incredible to be true. Could his demanding boss possibly be his long-lost twin brother? After days of uncertainty, Michael made a decision. He placed the silver frame on Harlow's desk with the letter tucked inside, then waited anxiously at his own desk. When Harlow arrived, his usual scowl deepened at the sight of the unfamiliar object. Confusion flickered across his face as he examined the photograph, then turned to shock as he discovered and read the letter. Michael watched through the glass partition as Harlow's expression transformed. For a moment, there was vulnerability in those eyes that normally radiated nothing but cold authority. That vulnerability vanished instantly. Harlow stormed out, face flushed with anger. He demanded to know what kind of sick joke Michael was trying to pull. Harlow crumpled the letter, threw it back at Michael, suspended him for 2 weeks, and ordered him to clear his desk immediately. That evening, as Michael sat surrounded by half-packed boxes, his phone buzzed with a text from Harlow. "DNA test. Tomorrow 9 a.m. My office." The next morning, Michael found Harlow waiting, eyes red-rimmed from a sleepless night. Without a word, Harlow placed 2 sealed testing kits on the desk. They each swabbed their cheeks in silence. It was a long wait for the result to arrive. When his phone rang and he saw Harlow's number, Michael knew the moment of truth had arrived. Harlow's voice was barely audible as he confirmed what Michael had suspected. The DNA test was positive. They were twins, separated at birth. Harlow revealed that his parents had lied to him his entire life, claiming he was their biological child. The revelation had shattered his world overnight. When they met again, both men were changed. The arrogant boss and uncertain employee were gone, replaced by 2 strangers connected by blood and separated by circumstance. Harlow explained that his family had moved frequently throughout his childhood, changing their name twice. The witness protection program had shaped his entire upbringing, which now made painful sense. The brothers embraced awkwardly, both crying despite attempts to maintain composure. James admitted his hostility toward Michael had stemmed from an unsettling sense of familiarity, an unconscious recognition that had troubled him since Michael joined the company. What began as a reluctant $2 purchase had reunited brothers separated by circumstance, revealing truths buried by time and necessity. As the brothers began getting to know each other, they realized they had been given a second chance at the relationship circumstances had stolen from them. The silver frame now sat in James's living room, a reminder of how easily they might never have found each other at all. What would you do if you discovered a long-lost sibling had been in your life all along, hiding in plain sight?